though, at the ballot box in 2012. Here now, Shira Toeplitz, a staff writer for Roll Call. Shira, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me today.
My pleasure. And the president definitely has this on his mind because he mentioned it in his address, his weekend address, and he's thinking about it certainly. Whether or not he can do anything about it, we will see. Is this the crisis du jour for the president?
I certainly think it's on his mind. Look, he did mention in his weekly address, as you just mentioned. He also mentioned it twice on the road this week in California. Obviously, a lot of drivers in a big state like California. And again, in Reno on another campaign and presidential stop there. It's definitely on his mind. And judging by the language he's used, he's definitely trying to get in front of this issue. He knows that gas prices can definitely take a toll on his approval ratings, and he's concerned about that. That's why he keeps talking about it. And also in Nevada, I thought it was very interesting. He brought up the fact that he's asked the Department of Justice to set up a task force to investigate fraud in the oil industry.
Right.
So he wants to make sure voters think he's doing something about these prices.
That was interesting to have the Department of Justice take a look at potential price gouging. It's been done by other presidents and other administrations before. Will it register in the mind of voters, and what will Republicans do with the issue of gas prices when it comes to the president's re-election bid?
Well, I think whether it will register in the minds of voters is kind of the big $64,000 question here. Right now, let's remember we're at least 18 months out from the president's re-election bid from November 2012. That's a lot of time for fluctuation in gas prices. So it could take a toll now. Let's remember that gas prices also tend to rise during the summer months when a lot of people are traveling. There's a huge demand for gasoline. Next year, next November, is when we're really going to need to look at it. However, in the meantime, congressional Republicans are already looking at ways to investigate, especially House Republicans are setting up committee hearings and testimonies to investigate gas prices.
Interesting. The gas price obstacle for any president, particularly this president right now with the economy in such a state of flux, nearing panic, and the question of the debt ceiling. Is it just a symptom, the gas prices, in the minds of voters, of a bigger picture that they must evaluate in terms of deciding who they vote for?
I think gas prices, more than any of these other rubrics that you just mentioned, the debt ceiling, even the stock market, voters can look at these numbers on their television screen, but what really hits home for them is when they go to the gas station twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, and they see how much they're paying. And just 2 months ago, they paid $30 to fill up their tank. Now it's $50. And that really hits home more than any other metric in terms of the economy for a lot of voters.
Fair and balanced, if gas prices don't get under control, does every politician pay a price?
A lot of politicians pay a price, and usually it's those in power right now. At least that's what history has shown us. So we can ask former President Jimmy Carter about the energy crisis in the 1970s, what happened to his re-election bids. I mean, look, this is what happens. Voters, whether or not Congress can do anything about the gas prices, which is debatable, at least in the short term, voters do tend to punish the party in power when prices at the pump are raising.
Shira Toeplitz, thank you so much for being with us from Roll Call. Always good to see you.
Thanks for having me, and happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you and your family. Thanks.
Thank you.
Jamie, there are signs of hope on this Sunday morning in Texas.